recording, we're doing it on September 11th. And kind of, I woke up this morning, I didn't even realize that it was September 11th again. And I got online and saw everybody posting about, 911, remembering. One of the phrases that is said a lot is, I forget the way they put it, but it's, never forget. And that's used all the time. And I'm just kind of wondering, I'll share kind of what that means to me. But I want you guys to think about what does that trigger with you guys, or the whole situation. What does it kind of make you think about? I think this is like 19 or 20 years from
19.
Is it 19?
Yeah.
So for me, when they say never forget, for me, it means like, I think we have a hard time understanding that there's some bad people out there in the world. So from my perspective, never forget is like to have our guard up, kind of like, I'm around so many nice people all the time, and everybody's pretty nice to me. I've got family that loves me, and the only reason I know that there's some evil people out there is because I used to hang out with them. I used to be one of those guys. And so it's not hard for me to kind of know that those people, and I've kind of taken myself out of that and away and try to be as safe as possible. But as a country, I think for myself, it's like we actually have enemies out there. And I think sometimes, it's hard to remember that or keep that in mind. So I don't get really sentimental about the whole day. I didn't know anybody that died in the actual day. I get that it's a horrible thing, but I don't really like wake up and I don't have this emotional attachment to the day. I remember the day that it happened. I remember I was working with my dad doing concrete. But I saw the news as we were going to work in the morning, and then I think the second plane hit kind of, I actually don't remember exactly how it happened, but I know that day I was kind of keeping up with the news on the phone with my kid's mom. She was kind of telling me from home what was going on. We didn't have the internet on our phones back then. But let's start with Jim. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you remember? What does never forget mean to you? Take it away.
Okay. Well, first of all, where I was when I heard about it, I was at work. I was working for a company called Selzy Enterprises, washing truck bodies or washing trucks, and I remember hearing it on the news because I turned the radio on in the truck and I'd be listening, and I'm out there watching these trucks and I'm hearing all of this stuff that's going on, and I'm kind of in my mind playing, creating these images of what was happening, and of course the whole deal with 9/11 is they say never forget. I put on Facebook this morning, it says always in my memories, and it's not that I don't want to forget, not that I need to be on guard, it's that we never forget those who died in the event and those who died as a result of being first responders. Those are the ones that I want to always keep in my memory, is that these are the casualties of that horrific event. That's who I want to always remember and never forget. The pain that was experienced by this nation was deep, and it turned very rapidly into anger. And, it was an extremely unifying event because it brought a lot of people together. You saw people, American flag sales went through the roof at that event. But my question was, where was your American flag before the event? I walked into my room, pulled my flag out, and put it up. Because I have a flag. That's you understand my question, but the never forget is those who suffered and died as a direct result, and the families of those who died. as a result of this. Those are the ones we want to always remember and never forget.
Jim, your audio is a little bit off. I don't know if you want to check it out, and then I'll go to Missy. But I mean, I can kind of hear you, but it's some sort of staticky going on there.
Okay.
And I also forgot to kind of tell you guys, you guys can ask each other questions. You can, if you want to hear more of a certain point that someone makes, feel free to talk, just like we're sitting at a table. We don't have to, you don't have to always wait for myself or whatever. But Jim brought up a great point. That's kind of my next kind of question. So we might kind of introduce it here. But I'm seeing before today, I saw a bunch of like American flags coming out, and people, especially like in Clovis, they're all over the place. And I was just watching them. I kind of wondered, along with 9/11, like, what is your initial thought, like when you see flags and stuff like that? And so anyways, that's a lot for you, Missy. Go ahead and just do whatever you can remember there. Sorry.
Well, I don't know what the question really was, but I do remember where I was during 9/11. I was in Colorado. I was getting ready to climb Pikes Peak. We had trained like 6 months to climb Pikes Peak, and I was feeling really ill that morning, and I didn't actually get to climb. But during my team, while they were up there, they that's when the attack happened. I was very confused at first. I didn't really have access to a TV, or of course we didn't have cell phones. Really, we had cell phones, but they were like the Nokia ones. So you really couldn't get really news on that. So by the time I found out what actually happened, which was the day after, it was quite devastating to me. I do have a sensitive heart about 9/11, but I also feel the same way about Pearl Harbor. Like, I never forget about Pearl Harbor.
Really?
It's just one of those things for me, and I always am like, don't forget about this. Like, what was done to our country, and but I think going back to what Jim said, it was more so about the lives that were lost on our soil, about our American people. I think that's where I felt a little bit sensitive about it. I read a post today that that was just a new perspective. They said like 19 years ago, the night before, families were getting together for the last time tonight. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that, to me, it's so sad. And I can't imagine what or how people recovered from that, or I mean, being so far away. Like, I know you had mentioned, like, we're so far away, it's so hard to kind of relate, and all you have is like these feelings, and you don't really know what to feel. And I think that that's normal. Of course, I mean, I'm super sensitive. I cry if a mosquito hits my windshield. So
Yeah, do you really?
Yeah, I'm so sensitive about that kind of stuff. So, but I really do I felt for America. I don't think that it was, I know Jim had mentioned, like, where was your American flag before that? I think it was just a time, like, when stuff like that happened, where it wasn't that we weren't so patriotic before, but I think it was a time where we just, the American flag is what we had to all connect us. And so that's when we started to bring it out. Like, it wasn't that we were ashamed of it or that we weren't any less Americanized before 9/11, but, when it happened, that was the one thing that can bring us all together and say, like, oh, I know, I'm feeling your pain. I know what's going on. I understand, or, we're here to support. And I think that was a flag of support and of togetherness. I think before that, it was just said, I think, amongst us, or we just celebrated, 4th of July together. But when that happened and we all brought out that flag, it was just kind of like a little beacon of like, hey, I'm here and I'm letting you know that I'm here to support you. I don't think it was a way of, of anybody, not being more Americanized than before or after 9/11. But it was definitely something that really shook me, especially I was young.
Yeah.
So it was definitely something that I could not believe because it was my first big, like, national,
Sure.
like, what is it? It's just a big thing that
Catastrophe.
happened, Yeah,
Catastrophe.
tragedy that happened in the U.S. for me. It was the first time I had experienced that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm glad that there's a body of Christ, because I'm not the feeling part of that body. It's like I don't know if I don't know why, but it's just, even back then. I mean, I was probably 21, I think, or so. So it just really didn't kind of like connect. It was really distant, like I had said before. But Jim, talk to us. Missy made a good point of, back then the flag was kind of a unifier. Everyone kind of, has that gone away, or what do you, like I said, I've been seeing flags come out in the last couple of months a lot, and it feels really weird, because I always want to be sensitive to people and stuff like that. But it seems like we're starting to kind of get divided on even the flag. It can be what's the word, offensive to some people, and I don't want to offend people just to offend people, but I feel when I see the flag come out, I'm still very patriotic, but at the same time, like, well, I'll mention this later, but